there's a few different paths you can take, because I think some people are fulfilled by like purpose and hard work. Other people are fulfilled by like their relationships with their family and friends. And then other people are kind of fulfilled by, well, I mean, I think religion plays a role there too, like something grand and bigger than themselves. So there's a few different routes to that happiness. So I think the universal part is you got to be able to have what you need to get by at the base level. But then beyond that, it's figuring out what's right for you. Like, are you most fulfilled by family and friends, by like striving work type stuff, by some larger religious power? And for a lot of people, it's a combination of those.
So I really think that working out does have an effect on your mood and how you feel overall. I know I used to work out all the time when I had a different job. I was working at a YMCA, so I was in a gym. I was around a lot of healthy people who lived healthy lifestyles, and I kind of followed suit in that, and prided myself on working out quite often, and not even for physical fitness or like trying to reach a certain physique, but mainly just because I enjoyed the way it made me feel.
What do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, a lot of things. A husband, a dad, a professor. I like writing. I like soccer. I like, yeah, that's, and actually if you ask me how I spend most of my time, it's one of those things. Yeah, it's pretty good. Being a professor is a pretty good job. It's pretty great. You just get to have discussion, especially when in college you're just teaching things you're interested in. So I just get to talk about stuff I like for my job.
And so now, being in a much busier role at an institution where I'm working in athletics, I'm not as physically active as I want to be. I don't eat as healthy as I used to, and so I definitely can tell a difference in my mood and my happiness overall, just because I think I'm missing that piece of my daily routine.
Mason Maslow basically lays it out. Oh man, I'm gonna forget all of them. But it's like food, water, shelter at base level, and then safety at the second level, and then like friendships or relationships at the third, and then the fourth is esteem. Yeah, all right. Fourth is like esteem, and then the fifth is self-actualization, which is tough because a bunch of different people like describe self-actualization differently. But I guess I always see it as like pursuing your highest order needs. So not being driven by your base needs, but like, what do I actually want and I actually care about on some like higher level. But that's tough. I understand why he has it pyramidized the way he does, but I'm not so sure it's just cut and dry, like you're actually climbing a pyramid, like, oh, I hit this level, now I hit this level. I think that's true for the first two levels, but then beyond that, I think it's more fluid. For the most part, we live in a country where most people have, the vast majority of people have those two base order needs met, which we shouldn't take for granted, because there's like half the world where those are not met, right? Which is sad. I know we saw slavery in parts of the world, which is crazy in 2019. So I think you gotta cover those by either work or community or something like that as to cover those base needs. But then achieving those higher order ones, I think a lot of that is up to the individual, and up to a large degree, I would say, now that I'm a parent, of like parents or mentors. So I think it doesn't necessarily have to come from parents, but somebody who's kind of older that can give you some sort of guidance on how to try and achieve your goals and move up those things. So some of it's internal, and then some of it is guidance from those that you admire.
I think people struggle with happiness because they allow negativity, and they allow problems to consume them. They give it a lot of power, so that they can't be happy, so that they can't go around smiling. They allow it to defeat them, kind of in a way, so that they can't shine, and they feel like they can't solve those problems, or they feel like they can't achieve greatness, so they let like negativity and their problems and their issues consume them, bring them down, so that's why they can't achieve happiness.
I think if you go broadly and enough. There's always things in the world that you can be unhappy about, like, you know, people being mistreated, and there's human rights atrocities, and there's like genocide taking place in the world right now. So broader stuff like that, of course, yeah. On a more personal level, I mean, I think that there's always things that you want to try and strive for and improve, because I think you can always improve yourself and try and improve your surroundings as well. And so in that way I'm striving. But I don't think that that makes me unhappy about those things, and actually giving things to strive for and to work for is, I would argue, where like my happiness comes from. I think if everything was perfect, I don't know if I necessarily would be happy. I like striving for things. There's philosophers that would go off on that. Schopenhauer says striving makes us restless and makes life miserable, but I actually think striving makes life great. So yeah, but I'm an optimist, and he was a party pooper. Yeah.
My job plays into my happiness because Peace was actually my happy place for the last 4 years. Being a recent graduate here and now coming on as a staff member, it allows me to stay around this environment, stay around the people that I love, students that I love, friends that are still here. Like, it just allows me to stay in this environment, and I love it. That definitely brings me happiness. I think realizing that you are bigger than your problems, and knowing that you can conquer anything if you put your mind and your heart to it. And that might be something that people struggle with, so that's why they can't really do that. But once you realize that internally, then I feel like there's no problem, there's no issue that can bring you down and take away your happiness.
In order to achieve one form of happiness, sometimes you got to give up another form of happiness, and that's makes you unhappy in and of itself, the fact that you have to make that choice. So that's kind of rough. But that's the way it is. You gotta, I think, embrace that gray reality of the world, because that's the way it is. And then I'm an optimist, so like, make the best out of it that you can. So yeah.
Happiness to me is being your true, authentic self in today's society, and being able to live free of judgment and what other people think about you.
It means filled with joy and no depression, no negativity, you know what I'm saying? Smiles all day, every day. Just be happy, enjoy life.
My dogs, being able to be successful, being able to build relationships with others.
Happiness is just being like, just good with yourself and like, just having a good time.
I achieve happiness by not dwelling on the negatives, not putting so much thought in my doubts, but rather focusing on the positives so that I could be happy, so I won't be depressed all the time.
Life. I know we like to say, you know, what we do and the parties we go to and other things is really important to us, and that's what makes us happy. But ultimately, I think God's love and God's acceptance is what makes me happy. Knowing that I'm doing what God wants me to do and living right.
Everybody goes through things, but it's what you do in that time.
And the people that you surround yourselves with.
That's what this man right here.
Find what brings you joy. Find what makes you happy. Focus on those things. If it's your family, go hang out with your family. If it's your friends, go hang out with your friends. If your friends get on your nerves, okay, maybe you don't need to spend too much time with them. If your family gets on your nerves, maybe you shouldn't hang out with them too much. But you know what I'm saying? If you like ice cream, go get you some ice cream. If it's gonna make you smile, go ahead.